If you've slept with over 100 men, then you have a problem. As in the case of Lily Phillips, as many of you have seen the news, she has stated that she has slept with over 100 men in recent events, and she plans on actually sleeping with 1,000 more next time for the next challenge.
It's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it, like...
It's not like just having sex with someone.
Yeah. Just one in, one out, like it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
So I was going to talk about something in this video, but I'm just going to leave that for a different video, because when I saw this, it caught my attention and I thought it was a really good way to bring up a good topic that I constantly think about, and that is the psychological destruction of our generation between men and women and the loneliness epidemic. This situation with Lily Phillips has really opened up the eyes of a lot of people in realizing that there are a lot of people who walk around with deep, deep voids in their souls that they desperately try to fill with the most evil and just disgusting of things. I wanted to quickly talk about how these sort of things are deeply immoral in society and in the world as a whole, and to have these people online, because I've seen many comments on Twitter from these ignorant dumbasses who constantly talk about how, oh, pornography is fine, you shouldn't ban it. You know, if people want to use it, go right ahead, but it shouldn't be banned. That's unfair, and this and that, yada, 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 blah, blah, all the whole BS spiel. And to those people, I say, you don't know anything about anything, and you're an idiot, and you're completely uneducated, and you better pick up a book. Because I'll tell you right now, as someone who has struggled with pornography addiction his whole life up until recently, the past year, when I finally was able to hop off of it, because I found a genuine reason to, and I came to understand how much I was being held back by my addiction my whole life. Since the age of 11, many of my generation and the generation that's coming right after me have been exposed to sex since they've been children. And that is absolutely horrible, because it has completely warped the perception of men and women for the past 2 decades. And this has to stop, because now we get a culture, I think I briefly talked about this in my previous video, where we have men and women who have very negative perceptions about each other. Women think that men are all the same, and men think that all women deserve contempt and deserve to be judged and shamed for just being women. And then one side ends up manipulating the other, while the other just takes it and puts up with it. On both sides, you got nice guys, you got hoes, for lack of a more sophisticated term, you have narcissistic psychopaths, and you have naive young people who believe that represents confidence, which is really just a false confidence and just pure arrogance and delusion of one's own self-esteem. But you get my point. And women like in Lily Phillips' position, they are unfortunately a victim of our current culture, our cultural movement. She's a woman who clearly has some serious self-esteem issues, clearly has lost any and all faith in herself or in the very thing that brought her into creation in the first place. Whether you believe that's the universe, life itself, God, whatever you believe in. I do not believe that we're just here just cause, okay? There's a lot more philosophical meaning to existence itself, but that's a topic for another day. I'll go ahead and talk about why I believe women who sleep around a lot, men who sleep around a lot as well, but women especially should never give up the sanctity of their bodies for such an unspeakable sin, such as sleeping with 100 men, or soon to be 1,000 actually. I'll explain why I believe this is morally wrong, and the fact that it's morally wrong completely undermines any argument as to the legality of it. Because of course it's legal what women in her position do. It's always legal, of course, because ultimately it's all business, it's all about money, but it's not really about money, okay? And I'll get to that in a second. But the reason why it's bad, first and foremost, is it's bad for society, okay? Societies that are civilized and function well in the long term only last because they place an emphasis in how sacred the mother and the child is. We see these images everywhere. It's very symbolic of what holds society together, which is children. We need more children in civilization, and that's the way we can guarantee a prosperous society moving forward. Is if there's the birth rate is high, women are happy, women are taking care of children and nurturing them in that very long 18-year period where they're growing up and maturing into, hopefully, if they do their job right, autonomous individual adults who are able to think for themselves and act in the world in a way that doesn't destroy or cause more chaos, but in fact helps progress further in our journey to push the limits of what humanity is capable of, and in making the world just a more prosperous, fulfilling place to live. Not easier, because life is not easy. Being human is not easy, but we wouldn't have it any other way. Otherwise, life wouldn't be life anymore. Now, that's a very philosophical topic, but I'll talk about that again in another video. I have many, many things to surround these sort of topics with, using ideas that I have learned in the past couple of years, thanks to people who are way, way smarter than me. So having a lot of high birth rates and having a lot of children with happy women taking care of those children is number one why casual sex and hookup culture is sinful and inherently an evil process. Second, and I believe this might be the most important thing, is that she's hurting herself. Women like Lily Phillips are just destroying themselves. They're hurting themselves and they're engaging in self-harm. And all these radical leftists, to bring a little bit of politics into my video, and I'll just rip off the band-aid right now. I have more conservative values for obvious reasons. But even on a logical standpoint, it just, yeah, sure, legally speaking, you can do what Lily Phillips is doing and many other women in her position, OnlyFans or in the porn industry, but you will never, ever, ever talk to a woman engaged in the porn industry or engaging in pornographic acts. They will never tell you that they're happy and that they're fulfilled. If they do, they're delusional and they're insane and they don't know what they're talking about. I once saw a video of this famous porn actress by the name of Angela White. I'm sure many of you are familiar with her. And she was in an interview, in a podcast, I believe, long ago, talking about how she's absolutely happy and satisfied doing her job, and she's happy making other men happy. She makes other people happy for a living. When I heard that, even my ignorant self, who hadn't picked up his first psychology or philosophy book, knew that something was wrong in that statement. That just didn't sit right with me, and I understand now why. Unfortunately, Angela White and many other women in her position are delusional. And they're just running away from their inherent shame that these sort of behavioral patterns inevitably cause. Because, again, us human beings, since the dawn of man, have had this, and I believe thanks to our capacity for abstract thinking, and where I think the potential of humanity truly lies. But again, I digress. We've always had this desire for worship. We all worship something. We're all slaves to something. I think Friedrich Nietzsche also stated this. I believe it was him who said, all humans are a slave to something. We cannot serve more than one master, okay? We can't serve God and lust. We can't serve God and money. We can't serve money. And we're all slaves to something, whatever that thing may be, whether it be God, money, sex, pleasure, anger, war, whatever it may be. We all desire to worship something, to look up at something. And that's where that symbolism comes into play. We all have the desire to aim up, to look up at something or someone as being better than ourselves and to serve as an ideal. Or something that we believe will save us, where the word salvation comes from. We believe that something will bring us that salvation from ourselves. And that is a little bit of religious injection into what we're currently discussing. And again, if you engage in self-harm, that's automatically sinful, because especially if you adhere to religious thinking, then from the perspective of the Lord, you're desecrating the temple that is your body. And I believe as women, you have more of a responsibility to take care of your body and to treat it as such. Because, again, women are a manifestation of Mother Nature, from what I've come to understand. They control how much reproduction goes around in a society, in a civilization. They control sex. To put it into simpler terms, women control sex, and therefore they control the direction of a society. And us men, I've come to understand, have a responsibility to become those inherent protectors and providers that we always crave to be, to protect the ones who ultimately are responsible for the direction of society, because we cannot have children if women aren't around. So therefore we need to be able to be there for them and protect them and provide for them while they nurture the next generation who can take up our mantle after we're gone. But again, it's just going off on another tangent. Women like Lily Phillips, man, my heart goes out to them because, again, engaging in this level of self-harm because you have completely given up on the idea of God and all the goodness that exists in the world in favor of worshiping your own short-term, hedonistic, pleasure-seeking whims like that of a 2-year-old. Only little children have such short-term, narrow-minded thinking, because lust is inherently not a bad thing, but because it is a natural human desire. But again, many of us use lust as an excuse to get what we really want, and that's connection, that's intimacy, that's love. Like, I'm positive that this woman, Lily Phillips, truly wants as well. We can see in her interview that I'm going to post a clip about. She's crying. She's crying because she is having a tough time finding the vocabulary to express why she feels so sad and so empty from what she's done. She even talks about how, like, it was a weird experience, you know, spending a couple minutes at a time with each man individually before she would move on to the next one, like a game of, I don't know, whack-a-mole, or like a game of like Tinder in real life, just left, right. There's no real connection there. And women of all people I know deeply crave connection, sometimes more so than us guys do. And it hurts them a lot more when they're betrayed or rejected or when they're abandoned. Because again, women are inherently different than us in the sense that they're more prone to high levels of stress than us. We are as well, but women on average tend to have higher levels of neuroticism, which is a personality trait. And therefore, whenever life kicks them in the ass, it hits them twice as hard as it does for us guys. And after they get kicked in the ass by life, we get women like Lily Phillips, who just go around sleeping with 100 men on the same day because she just has lost faith in her body and herself, in life, and she practically hates herself. And that's really, I can definitely relate to that, because that is something we all wrestle with to this day. And those are the two main reasons why I believe the situation is truly tragic and sad and just pathetic as well, because people will continue to do it. Women will continue to engage in these unspeakable, horrible, disgusting acts of giving up their bodies, selling their bodies for profit as a joke to God himself. It's truly something that's going on in our generation. It's going to continue for a while as well. And I believe we all have a responsibility as men to break the cycle and to give women finally a reason to treat themselves with respect, to protect their bodies, to believe in men again, to believe in love. And it's a hard thing to do. We have a tough job, gentlemen. We have a very difficult responsibility. However, we wouldn't have it any other way, because the alternative is to engage in hedonism, and that's no way to live life. It's not fulfilling. Even if you're engaging in it right now, you're lying to yourself if you tell yourself you're happy. Okay, there's no other way to live life than to tackle that which makes us the most afraid. It's part of the journey of life that the Lord intended for each and one of us. But anyways, guys, I don't want to make the video too much longer, so thank you for watching. It was a quick little rant on this whole situation that's going on in our culture nowadays with men and women giving up their bodies, sleeping around easily, hookup culture, casual sex, all the like, pornography being an unspeakable evil, a blight on society. And I will continue to talk about it for a while longer because I have a lot of thoughts. Even though it may seem like I'm a little bit all over the place sometimes, forgive me, that's just how my mind works. But anyways, if you made it this far, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see more, leave a like and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear what any of you who watched this video have to say on the matter. And yeah, until the next video, guys, take care. Peace.